Cavalier faithful, we're back. It's Cavs Encapsulated, episode 21, by the way. Regular season is winding down. Glad you're joining us. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, comment down below. How are you feeling about the Cavs right now? Let's get into this one. I think this is kind of an easier statement to say when your team is good and you actually have a reason to follow the NBA, because being in a somewhat of a rebuild phase the greater half of the last 5 years, I think it's easy for us to be like, oh, the NBA regular season isn't that competitive. But this year, it's got to be one of the more competitive regular seasons we've seen in a while, all things considered. I'm sure you could go back and look at the numbers. Maybe there were other good regular seasons in the past, but if you would have told me that the Cavs would be 29-8 at home this point into the season, and that wouldn't even be the best home record in the East, I would say that's pretty crazy. Like, at least not tied. I mean, Milwaukee has one less loss than us. Obviously, the Celtics have single-digit home losses this year as well. So I want to start with you, Logan. Let's talk about the good part of the great part as far as the home court dominance and how that sets up for the rest of the year. I know we got some road games we got to predict here, but I want to hear your thoughts, the positivity right off the bat here about the Cleveland Cavaliers.
Well, I mean, when you have 41 games at home and you so far we're 28-9, I thought. No, 20. What is our record? 29-8.
29-8. Yep.
29-8 at home. I mean, that establishes a rhythm, establishes a spot where you feel very comfortable, where you play your best basketball. And when it comes to the playoffs, when you're fighting for these spots, dropping from 4 to 5 can make a huge difference in a series when you look at that home versus record or home versus road record. So I mean, I hate the idea of the Cavaliers starting a playoff series on the road. Especially a team like this, who a lot of them haven't been to the actual playoffs. I would hate to start in New York, to be honest with you. So having this dominance at home definitely gives that advantage and sets you up well. And I'm sorry I sound like crap, everybody. It's 7 a.m. in Austin, Texas right now. A little about half asleep right now, just like a sleepwalking zombie right now. But I'll get there to them as we go.
We'll get there. We'll get there. Justin, to flip the question around, because you hear Logan talking about the 4 and 5 seed matchup. Let's just assume we stay locked into 4.
Yes, sir.
Give me your thoughts on who would you rather play, Brooklyn or the Knicks, and why? And would we beat either of those teams in a playoff series?
All right, so I'm gonna even go a little bit further. I'm counting the Heat in this conversation because the Nets are. I've been, it's been clear that they dished out Kyrie, they dished out Kevin Durant. They got some really good pieces back, and they have some young pieces there. They're maintaining, a decent record right now. Hopefully, you slide into that 7th spot, you're a play-in team, And the Heat, they're no play-in team, I believe that full-heartedly. They're not a play-in team. I think they're going to come up to 6, and they're only 3 games back of New York. So really, to me, it's who would I rather play, the Knicks or the Heat? And it's very easy. The Knicks, 100% every time, 10 times out of 10.
Okay.
I'm taking the Knicks matchup against, rather than the Heat. I just think we match up too well against them. Personally, I know that they have a better bench than us. I think a lot of teams have a better bench than us.
That's true.
But I will say that it has swung differently, or, it's trending upwards right now, heading towards playoffs. But I just think we match up perfectly against the Knicks, and to start off at home, like Logan would say, I think we get the 2 and take it to New York, and just keep the momentum going.
Fair enough. So the Knicks, they've kind of been up and down after the All-Star break. They played really good out of the break, and now they're somewhat regressing. I believe they did lose last night to
they lost
Minnesota. So
I mean, Justin, look at
cool,
you.
Cool with us. Cool with us that
basketball last night.
they lost. But Logan, you got anything before I kind of move into the next topic about that? Are you on the same page as Justin? Would you rather have the Knicks or would you rather have the Nets?
No, I think at the end of the day,
does it matter?
Probably not. To me, I think I'd rather take the Knicks over the Heat, similar to Justin, and I think honestly, it's because I love the idea of playing like in New York City. Like, obviously, don't want to start in New York City, but I think it's cool to like once you get your feet wet into the series and you go to New York. That's more fun than say you lose. Say you split at home in Cleveland, and then you have to go to Miami.
That's bad.
That scares me. That scares me a lot more than I'd like our chances getting one more back.
I think splitting at home against anybody would really worry me.
It would, but I think especially with Miami versus New York, I'm okay going to New York split. I don't really want to, but I'm saying I like our chances a lot better.
Honestly, we'll speculate here for the Cavalier faithful, you guys tuning in, because we already know the team won't. They're not going to garner. I mean, they might garner questions about it, but we're going to get the corporate line from JB, rightfully so. I would be giving the corporate line out too if we play our brand of basketball. If we do this correctly, limit these mistakes. It doesn't matter who we play. Sure, that's valid. I don't think that that's how fans and how people who cover the team should be looking at it. If you want to go about doing it that way, more power to you. But I just think personally, when you're coming down to the last however many games are left in the season, 8 games of the season, 9 games of the season, something you got to look into. It's something you have to talk about. And most importantly, I think everybody can agree, staying at the 4 seed is priority number 1. It doesn't really, if that happens, it's true. It doesn't really matter who we do play. But if you slip into the 5 seed here, I think you got the 2 biggest games of the season coming up as far as our schedule, because we got 2 games against Brooklyn and the weird mini road series type of setup. We're at Brooklyn today.
I hate it so much.
We're recording this on Tuesday, 21st. We're at Brooklyn. Thursday, we're at Brooklyn. And then we have a game against Houston at Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse. That pretty much rounds out this calendar week. You still have to play the Knicks, which that should be auto flex to whoever could put the most eyes on that game, if it already isn't. And then you have some schlub teams at the end of the season here, 2 against Orlando, 1 against Indiana, 1 against Charlotte to round out the year. Interesting to see if seeds are locked in, how we could go from there. But before I ramble any further, I want to throw it back to Justin, just because I want to get him really excited this morning, because I want to talk about the last 10 games of Caris LeVert. I'm pulling up the stats. 13.4 points a game, 4.1 assists, 4 rebounds a game in the last 10 games for Caris LeVert. Is he peaking too early? Is he gonna be bad in the playoffs, or is he gonna be able to continue this for 8-9 more games and then the first playoff series?
Logan having to disappear does not bode well for what we're going to talk about here.
He doesn't want to hear the LeVert slander.
No, he doesn't. Either he doesn't want to hear the LeVert slander, or he's in the same boat and he's worried about the future. But let's be honest. His last 10 games have been phenomenal, and it's, I think, even more than his last 10 games as of right now have been very good. I think exactly what you expected to get out of Caris LeVert when you traded for him.
Yep.
He's coming to a team with Donovan Mitchell, Darius Garland, Jared Allen, Evan Mobley. Yes, I understand. He's not going to get the looks that he wants and the touches that he wants and, play the game that he wants. But, let's not act like 2 weeks ago, I believe, it's when you upload this tonight, Jeff, 2 weeks ago, we had uploaded a episode where I had been like, everyone wants Caris gone. Everyone was talking about how bad the stretch of games was in February, where he was like 6.8 and having the worst part of his season. And we're all sitting here saying, all right, this has just gone on too long. The fact that we couldn't get him out during the trade deadline is a problem. But he's peaking. I think it's great. I think it needs to continue. Mm-hmm. But the interesting thing that you brought up, Jeff, on Twitter one day was the stats of how Caris plays when one of the core 4, Jared Allen, Evan Mobley, Donovan Mitchell, Darius Garland, are out. His numbers are instantly, boosted to, an extreme high. And, in the games that he's been out, Jared Allen has been out, Caris LeVert has been putting up some extremely good numbers. So the key is, when we get to that point, because we don't want to go into the playoffs and, have to be missing a guy for Caris to come alive, it's more about seeing what does he look like when the core four is all healthy and we're playing in serious games? That's my thing. He doesn't look good with the rest of the core four. When someone's out, yeah, he looks good. He has to look good. But outside of that, I wouldn't even want him to be the first guy coming off the bench. I'd want it to be Rubio, and I'd want it to be, a Chetty or a Dean Wade, so someone that Evan could get out or Jared Allen could get out. And
actually, a 4, even Lamar, which we're going to talk about next, actually. But stats in sports are so funny because you could spin them however you want to fit your narrative. That's why I enjoy talking about sports, because as long as I have evidence that I think is good evidence, I can make a point. I don't really care if people agree with me or people disagree with me. I could end up maybe being right or maybe being wrong. And even if I'm right about a certain situation, it happens, or it could never happen, or could me being right and then happening doesn't mean it was the correct decision to make. Like if me and you speculate LeVert's going to be gone this offseason, we could speculate that and end up being right just because of numbers and stuff like that.
We did it last year with Sexton.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But it's not like, you could always predict, was this the absolute best thing to do for the franchise? You have your medium ground, so to say. But I agree with you, Justin. I think it's great that he's playing good basketball. Don't get me wrong. We've never had personal disdain for the guy. We thoroughly enjoyed the trade. Go back and watch our live streams right when he got traded. Some of the most popular content that this YouTube channel has ever put out, 55, 60 viewers in a live stream, and we were hyped about it.
Yep. Are we talking Cavs? Are we talking LeVert here, guys?
Yeah, but we haven't Justin, these stats without Allen these past couple of games just gives me more evidence to say, okay, if he does this without, why would he be, if he's better when somebody is not healthy, then it doesn't justify paying him. Basically, if he wants to be a starter, he'll get starter money somewhere is the end of the road, I think, for him. I'm glad that he keeps playing good basketball. He needs to continue these next 2 games, but if he can't play at this type of level, not even regarding the stats, when all 4 of the core 4 are healthy, then I just don't.
The eye test.
The eye test just looks bad when he's, I don't know if it's a starter versus bench thing. Him and Okoro were just 2 similar archetypes.
Thank you.
Not player, but psychologically, it's Okoro's a better starter, can't do anything off the bench. LeVert's kind of the same way. If we could start 8 guys, yeah, we'd be really good. But there's only 5 guys on the court.
So Jeff, totally agree with you. I 100% was going to say that. Just his mindset is so fluctuated.
And I get it's tough. No one's out here saying, he thinks he's this, he's that. If you've played team sports and you were a starter somewhere and then you went to play at a better program, a better organization, and you have to come off the bench, or maybe you were a starting pitcher and now you're a relief pitcher. Maybe you were a guard and now you have to play tackle in football. We're not saying this is easy, but it's you have to justify what you write. The paychecks for these guys, he's making $17 million this year. Has he played like that caliber of player all year long? That simple answer is no.
Yeah. The one thing before Logan gets his chance is the one thing I will commend Karras for, and probably why it's better for him to come off the bench. He's played the most games that he's ever played in his career here in this season since his second season in Brooklyn. And he might surpass that if he.
What's his minutes per game, though, this year compared to other seasons?
30 minutes. He's playing 30 minutes.
That's pretty solid.
It's honestly better. It's better than all of his time in Brooklyn.
Good to note.
Yeah.
So
I will give him that credit. He's been healthy, which in the past he has not been.
You guys are attacking my boy Karras, huh?
Always.
Okay. I leave for
not
2 minutes. I leave for 2 minutes.
We got his stats pulled up for a reason. He's playing good hoops.
Mm-hmm. Okay, now so this is what I think about Karras LeVert. He's insurance policy, right? If a guy's hurt, he ends up stepping up, and that's great. And I love that quality in a player. You need that. But then you think about, God, how dangerous it would be if LeVert played like this all the time. And that's what we always struggle with, right? That's the part that is a little bit frustrating for Cavs fans. Now, people on Twitter need to sock it. The people are like, this guy sucks. He doesn't.
That's
if you want to say a player doesn't fit, if you want to say a player isn't playing up to standards, that's fine. But some of these comments about Karras LeVert, I'm like, the guy has a damn family. Relax.
Right.
But he's playing some really good ball lately. He's playing exactly the way we need him to play. But here's the issue. When I start talking like that, then I start talking the way I do for Isaac Okoro, right? When I'm justifying somebody. He's doing exactly what he needs to do right now. He's playing good. And then you have the times where you're like, oh, geez, like he's just not fitting. I don't like having LeVert and Okoro in that same category. So do I think that we can bring him back? Yes. Do I think it has to be the right price? Absolutely. $17 million is crazy. If you want to throw 9 to 11 at him, somewhere in that category, I know it might be.
I still think that's a little high.
I know, and it probably will be, but at the end of the day,
my number's going to be really low, though, so I'm an outlier. But Logan, you hit the nail right on the head. He's an insurance policy. Take a look at your monthly budget for all those budgeters out there. Let's equate this to the Cavs. Donovan Mitchell is like your biggest expense in your budget, your house, your mortgage payment, whatever. Jared Allen is actually number 2 on your budget this year because Garland's big contract hasn't kicked in. He's like your food, your necessities and like that. LeVert is your 3rd. So LeVert is like your car payment or what you're spending on your car, but he's really the insurance policy. You're spending car money on your insurance policy. Your insurance policy is supposed to be way at the bottom of your budget, only $20 a month. Not your car payment. Your car payment is supposed to be up there as one of your, top priorities. You got to get these things done. You got to get your 4 walls taken care of, food on the table, and make sure you can get from point A to point B. He's your insurance policy. So let's rework the budget. If Altman wants to do that, that's fine. I know we're kind of getting away from the regular season, but you have to take into account what these players mean for the future of the roster and if they're going to continue to play at a good level this year through the playoffs. And Justin, I loved your poll on Twitter. I think we're going to have to wait because if he plays good in the playoffs, I think he knows.
Yeah, he secures his spot.
His urgency level is high. If it's his agent, whoever's in his inner circle, because if you play good in the playoffs, you're going to secure a bag. Seen it last year with Jalen Brunson, etc.
So here's the last thing. I actually got into a conversation with one of our followers yesterday, and he told me about the bird rights and stuff, and clued me in on why we have to re-sign Karras. You have to re-sign him because we're over the cap already. We can't sign outside players, but if we sign him and we sign him to like a big deal, because Jeff, you talking about your deal is going to be small. We have to give him a bigger deal so we can go out and trade his asset for someone like Buddy Hield.
It's a sign and trade deal.
It's almost. It's like the Colin Sexton. It's like the Colin Sexton trade.
That's fair.
You extended him, traded him, and boom, bang, pop, they got the guy for a couple of years, and we got our guy for a couple of years. So.
Here's the thing, though, and we're going to flex over to somebody who is making significantly less money than Caris LeVert, who has a similar impact, I think, on a lot of nights, and that's going to be Lamar Stevens. Your last 10 games for Lamar, 7.2 points, 4.4 rebounds, almost 1 assist, plus a good defensive presence, plus probably the most hustle, and without Jared Allen, definitely the most offensive rebounding prowess on the court. This is what you need. Like, this is the type of performance you need from a guy who's on a small contract to make it really deep in the playoffs. Yes or no?
I'm going to keep it a buck here. I disagree. And that's not often I disagree. I really like Lamar Stevens. I do. When it comes, though, to impact, yes, defensively, yes, he gives us that jolt. He gives us that toughness. And I totally agree that does have a major impact for this team. But when it comes, look at his shot attempts, guys, right? If he's upping his shot attempts to, say, I don't know, like regular basis, like 8 to 10 shots or like 7 to 9 shots, he's not a guy that can create his own shot. He's not a guy that's going to get others involved very well. I like, again, I don't know where I'm going with this, but what I'm saying is they have similar. What would you say, Jeff? You said they had similar impact. They have similar impact, and he gets paid a lot less money. I think they both have an impact, but I don't think their impact is anywhere near the same. I think you put in LeVert when you need a little more scoring, or you need a guy just to dribble the basketball and get others involved. Lamar Stevens is truly just an energy presence, and I don't think that warrants,
similar to help in winning. Like LeVert, let's say winning is a 10. I think LeVert, there's some nights he could give you an 8. Some nights Lamar could give you an 8 too. I think it's pretty like sometimes LeVert could give you a 2. And
That's
Lamar
fair.
doesn't really play enough. I guess you would be correct to be like, okay, they have similar impacts, because I'm sure if Lamar played 30, 35 minutes a game, he would put up some 2s and some 1s and some 3s as far as, scale of impact.
Mm-hmm.
But he is, I think he's JB's go-to guy at this point, even outside of Rubio.
Oh, I like him. Yeah, it's good.
And I think that he's kind of taken the spot of Dean Wade, who was given a bigger contract. And he's definitely, had to take Kevin Love's minutes as far as that injury going all the way back. So even with Jared Allen out, I think it's interesting. His numbers are a lot better when he's playing the 4 position. When he actually has to play the 4 and it's small ball, like you said, Justin. I don't know if you want to comment on that's maintainable.
I'm going to comment on it
in the playoffs. I'm trying to think of matchups. Like, who is New York's? Who is the 4 for the Knicks?
Yeah, Randall, Julius.
You know who I'd compare him to the Knicks?
Mitchell Robinson,
Obi Toppin.
That's fair. I think he might have similar numbers to Obi Toppin this year, maybe a little bit.
Here's my comment on this whole thing with Lamar. He's a guy that needs to be a 1 through 8 guy. Not this year, but next year. I think watching his game, and I was the guy who said, you guys were hyping him up earlier in the year and everything, and I was the guy who said I wasn't too high on him. He's a high and low guy. I am starting to see a part of his game that reminds me of someone that we all hate. And it's very, very familiar. And I think if he had time and an actual rotational spot as like a 7 or an 8 guy, he could be like a Draymond Green.
I knew you were going there.
And I mean that in like the best way. Like Draymond Green, let's be honest, outside of the championships, he's not a great like basketball player. He does a lot of really good hustle stuff. He gets all the rebounds, and he gets his points every now and then. He doesn't go for a lot. I don't know like what his highest career average is. I doubt it's more than like 15.
Scrappy defender though. He could hit shots if he needs to.
In his prime, he was real good, but
he gets people riled up. He gets his teammates riled up, and he gets in dudes' heads. I like him, and I think he's a good guy about it. He's not he's not annoying like Draymond or like the kid in Memphis, Brooks. So I like him. I don't think right now he fits in, because I'm looking at 1 through 8 for playoffs, and you're looking at minutes. You go to the outside of the core 4. Karis LeVert is your next highest guy. Isaac Okoro is after him. Chetty Osman is after him. Is that the 3 guys we're going into the playoffs with? Because guess what? That means Rubio's not playing, which that's
Rubio's
a big no-no.
Rubio's going to play in the playoffs.
Exactly.
JB's going to go back to factory settings and play Rubio in the playoffs. And honestly, if we're in a 7-game series and if you get the game 1 and game 2 very average or below average from Okoro, JB's going to play Lamar over him. And I don't even think JB's like that, because I think JB likes Okoro, but I'm almost personalized. You're giving him a lot of
credit with that one, Jeff.
I'm giving him a guarantee there. Justin, what I like about your point about Draymond is that Lamar is. So imagine back in those finals series when the Cavs were playing the Warriors, Draymond is the guy when maybe we were down like 14 or 15 points and we got it back to like 7 or 8. And then Draymond hits a 3 and it's like a 10 or 11 point game. And you're in the second half and you're like, oh my God, Draymond just hit a 3. Your blood is boiling. That's what Lamar could be for us in a playoff series. We're up like 9, 10 or 11. It's a mini Cavalanche. Lamar hits a 3. We're up like 14 or 15. The other fan base is like, who the hell is this
guy?
Who's this shooter who just hit a 3 against us and just made a 15-point lead with like 2 minutes left in the third quarter? That's how I see Lamar Stevens. And I agree with you, Justin. I think that's some good talking points there. Will he play in the playoffs? Don't know. Logan, you have any comments on that?
Can you trust him in the playoffs?
Oh, I don't know. Can we trust any of these guys in the playoffs? We don't know.
That's exactly what I was about to say.
Right.
Outside of the core 4, can you trust any of these guys?
I don't even know if you could trust the core 4 in the playoffs. Darius wasn't great in the play-in last year. It really wasn't.
He
wasn't.
But
I think that's an unfair question for me to give, because like you guys said, a lot of these guys haven't been there. But I do think this is a person that needs a lot of hand-holding. I think he's really, really good when he's playing with the right group. When he's out there with, even just give him one of Garland or Mitchell, maybe a Mobley to attack the glass.
Fair.
I think if he's out there with, mostly bench pieces, that's where he kind of gets lost in the rotation. I kind of think that's why he kind of got lost out of the rotation in the first place, is he was getting those garbage minutes that mean nothing, that doesn't allow you to show coach that you deserve to have those minutes. And it says a lot about a guy when you're thrust into a game like that Boston game and he all of a sudden is taking over down the stretch, turn your way back in the lineup. That does mean a lot. But I do think he's a person that is going to need to be in the right moments when it comes to the playoffs. I don't like the idea of him being like, I don't know. I don't like the idea of him being like the second guy off the bench, but I know that's kind of in the playoffs. You obviously shorten your strategy and shorten who plays. I get that, but it does worry me a little bit. I don't want him coming into a situation he's not comfortable in. If he comes in and he's out there with, like I said, one of Garland or Mitchell, which I'm sure he will be at the end of the day. I'm saying if he comes in with Rubio, no, I don't like it. If he comes in with an explosive guy, a guy who can, if Lamar, God, stop dribbling the basketballs, give it to me and I'll shoot it. Like that's the kind of person needs out there to have that safety valve to allow him to be comfortable.
I think the real question we need to ask is like, if we are shortening the bench to 1 through 8, are we okay with the idea of, hey, JB's going to switch who he uses during series for the guys coming off the bench? Because you have everyone,
from Ricky Rubio, right?
You have to in the playoffs. You have to.
Yeah, because you have guys from Ricky Rubio up who have played more than 15 plus minutes. That's the cutoff. If you haven't played more than 15 minutes and we're not injured, you're not playing. You're not getting time. So that would mean Ricky Rubio is the cutoff, and that's Ricky Rubio, Stevens, Wade, Osman, Okoro, and LeVert.
Well, that's my issue too, because Lamar is too small to guard a lot of. Well, I think he's like a decent height to guard some fours. If he's guarding a good size 4, it's going to be an issue. But I love him guarding most threes. I like him guarding most threes over Okoro, just in general. Logan, the last question here: would you rather have JB put Lamar in if we're up 15 in a playoff game or down 15 in a playoff game?
Down 15.
Okay, that's what I thought you would say. Justin, up or down?
It wouldn't make sense to put him up when we're up.
But like just to give Mobley a blow, just to give Jared Allen a blow for like 3 or 4 minutes.
I guess I wouldn't use him as that guy though.
Okay, Brooke Lopez, or Robin Lopez, Lopez we have.
I don't know. It's just
that's what I'm saying. I
still think Dean Wade needs
who is giving our bigs a blow in the playoffs.
That's why Dean needs to get back into the rotation. That's my biggest thing. He's the biggest guy in that rotation right now outside of those two. He's 6'10", and everyone else is
Serge Ibaka when we sign him.
But you play 2 games in Cleveland, you win both of them, but Mobley plays 80 minutes. Cool. Yeah. But I mean, he's the young guy. I get it. Our youth is going to be the playoffs are going to be great, going to be interesting, going to be a lot to follow. We still have regular season games to predict though, gentlemen, and that's where we are in today's episode. Everyone's favorite part. Me and Logan's streak does get busted at the Sixers game. I think that don't.
If I had known Jared Allen was out, I would have gone.
Oh yeah, Jared Allen. That injury isn't too bad. If we have to play the Sixers in a playoff series, I'm not going to make it. I'm not going to make it.
Beyond I don't like the matchup. I can't physically watch.
I don't care. I don't care about the matchup. The matchup is us versus the refs. I don't care even about their team. It's just the ref. I'm not going to be able to do it. Brothers
I'm not going to watch
in the
4
playoffs
hours of basketball, watching 70 shot attempts between 2 players.
No. Plus with nationally televised
Mr.
broadcast.
Step back and Mr. I'm 7 foot but flop. Sorry, I'm just angry.
People like Mike Breen. If one thing you gotta know about me is that I am a Mike Breen, kind of hater on the hater cusp. So a Mike Breen nationally televised game. Logan, Logan, I appreciate that he's his announcing, the caliber of announcer he is. But if you don't bang, it triggers me. It does.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. When you're on the opposing side of the bang,
come on, always. I mean, Steph Curry made the bang, and the bang made Steph Curry. Pause. We'll go on. 48-25 for Logan. I mean, look at this streak right here. How many games was this, Logan, for us? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 game correct streak for us. We got 2 games at Brooklyn. This is a really weird schedule gap. I know we've been getting kind of screwed with scheduling, but this has been kind of nice, like a mini break.
Right.
But I'm a little bit nervous about it. Let's hear your thoughts, Logan.
Yeah, it does worry me. I don't like coming back from that, but somehow I think it's going to work out well this time, taking the Cavs.
Okay, fair enough.
So similar to the whole Miami thing, I think we're just better off grabbing that first one.
Okay.
I went and planted the flag in Brooklyn. I got Brooklyn losing both of these games.
He's calling it out immediately.
I don't think it's going to be that easy. Is Jared Allen playing?
No.
He's already ruled out tonight.
I think he is.
All I've seen is that he hasn't put the practice jersey on.
I really don't like this gap in days. I think we're going to be really flat-footed, but I will give us the second one because I think it's a minimum split. And we'll go from there.
I like us taking both. I do.
Okay.
Part of me wants to take Brooklyn here in the second game, but I don't know. It's winning time. I think these Cavaliers they gotta find, and they're finding it. They're playing a lot of better basketball lately, but I think that they need to really play their best basketball going into these playoffs here, and got to get a couple on the road.
I kind of hate this stretch of games because I really could see us losing 2 out of 3. This Rockets game is just a typical game. I've seen it too much in other aspects of sports where it's the last 10 games of the season and a team beats a really bad team just beats a team that they have no business beating. I'm actually extremely nervous about this game, but I will rock with the Cavs.
I 100% disagree with both of you. I think, Jeff, you're valid with your Nets take. Like that could be a trap game. The Rockets.
Just watch this game be close. Just watch it.
That's fair, but this was kind of my thing with the 76ers game. I was like, there's no Jared Allen. They're trying to catch to the 2 seed. There was no chance we were winning that game in my mind. You two, and a lot of Cavs fans on Twitter were very much thinking we could win that game. I didn't think we had a chance. But now, and I said this in a text message, so I'm going to say it out loud. You can just go ahead and mark me down for the rest of the season as Cavs. I'm not taking any other games or any other teams. I'm going Cavs the whole way through.
Yeah, I think you'll get costed by load management there at the end, honestly.
Maybe I will.
When Windler and when Sam Merrill's getting like 15 minutes, yeah. But
I mean, I will.
I get your thought process. I get it.
Listen, in my mind, there's 2 teams on this, on this stretch of games left. The 10, I think it's 9 games left. It's Atlanta and it's New York. Every other game is you should win this game, and you're building the momentum.
I totally agree. I just don't know if it plans to shake out like that.
That's fair.
The ball's on you, man. That's impressive. Okay, calling it out for the rest of the season.
I looked it up ahead.
I think that somehow makes my predicting a lot harder every week too, you little butt face. But I went there.
You could just go Cavs all the way, and you would win.
You would win. Yeah, Logan, you would win.
I don't know. Who knows? Justin or Jeffrey is still hanging on back there.
That's fair.
We didn't have to worry about Jeffrey last year, Justin. Remember that?
I know. Well, this 9 game, it really brought me back into it, and then I folded here.
Yeah.
Should have known that those foul merchants were going to beat us. I can't believe myself.
God, I freaking hate those guys. Okay.
Hate them.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and take the Cavs. I do think it's a game that the young Rockets are going to try to steal in the road, but that's just not going to happen. I just don't think it's going to happen at the end of the day.
This is a classic I don't know what the actual standings are for lottery. Like I don't know what the records are. But the Rockets game just feels like, they win this game and then they somehow end up not being the worst record kind of thing. Like that happens in the NFL a lot more. The Pistons are 16-56. The Rockets are 18-54. So, there's a race for that tankathon, first highest percentage to get the lottery. But I could see them totally. The Rockets franchise just like that. They would beat us and then not have the best odds. Then they wouldn't get the first overall.
Don't
pick.
The bottom 3 all the same chance at number 1 nowadays? Isn't that the new rule?
Maybe
stupidest rule ever. By the way, if you suck, you should get the number 1 pick.
The Spurs have 19 wins, and I don't know. The Hornets have 23 wins. They're safe.
That's how the NBA keeps.
Maybe the bottom 3 is. Maybe the bottom 3 is locked.
That's how Detroit's been in poverty for like the last.
I feel bad for Detroit. Like they're going to be in mediocre city for however long. They're only going to get so good.
That's fine.
Who knows? They could be great.
Relegation. Maybe relegation next year. Worst record goes to the G League. That would be funny. But that would have been us. That would have been the Warriors one year. Imagine Steph Curry in the G League.
God.
I mean, you would be so mad. It'd be only 1 year your career because an NBA roster in the G League is getting promoted back to the NBA the next season unless something crazy happens. But mean, you're still costing a year of your career. It would stop tanking for
That's
teams
true.
that have superstars. Be like, oh, this is a year of my career. People look back and be like, oh, you were in the G League. But with that all being said, appreciate the Cavalier faithful. Let's get the final thoughts, starting with Justin. Round us out here before we get out of here.
As the known Caris LeVert hater,
disliker. We don't use that H word around here.
I don't.
You just said Mike Breen hater.
But
I didn't want to.
I get called a hater on the line and everything. But
fine. I love it.
I hope that he continues to play the way that he's played in the last 10 plus, because I think it's been more than 10 now. And I hope that it continues even when Jared Allen comes back and he finds that spot. Because at the end of the day, I want this team to win games. And if he's helping this team win the game, then damn, I don't care. I don't care who he is. He could be Sam Merrill. If it's Sam Merrill, who cares?
Right. It's fair.
Who's going to be our X factor? That's the question I want answered. You know, in the playoffs, you always have that X factor. Miami had like Ray Allen or Mike Miller. They had those kind of guys that would step up. Cleveland in our heyday would have Richard Jefferson. Sometimes would give those good minutes. J.R. Smith.
Channing Frye.
Who's going to be the X factor? Who wants to step up? Is it Lamar Stevens? Sounds weird right now, but it could be. Caris LeVert, if he's playing a good brand of basketball, makes this team really, really good. So to me, I think LeVert's our X factor. I think Mobley, if you talk about a guy that's going to go into his first playoffs, I think he's an X factor, because if he's giving you what he gives you, plain and simple, not even above and beyond, if he's giving you what he needs to give you, he's an X factor. Over these last couple of games, we want the Cavaliers to establish those X factors. We know the stars, we do. Now it's time to grab those guys that are really going to take you to that next level in the playoffs.
Fair enough. Great episode, gents. Think it was a good one. We only got a couple more of these before it's postseason time. I'm excited. Looking forward. What a great season it's been. What a great year of content. We're going to keep it pushing. Yeah, you guys hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, comment down below. Give us your game predictions. Yeah, and just overall thoughts on the squad, who should play in the playoffs, all the good stuff we talked about today. Before we see you again, whether it's a Logan Short, a live stream before, during, or after a game, or the next Cavs Encapsulated upload, 3 most important words for the Cavalier faithful. Let them know.